Oh, welcome to my place. I've just checked my mail. I still love getting a letter in the post, but never mind. Everything comes through my Gmails now, and I've had a lovely request from Ruby wanting to know if I could show you all how to do fabric painting. So this is a little piece that I did a long time ago. I really love that with the blocks that you can get now, you can actually do whatever you want to do on a piece of fabric. Now, once you've done your fabric painting, all you have to do is hit it with an iron for about 5 minutes and then it will never come off. But the other thing is, if you make a mistake, you can wash it off and you can start again. What I suggest you do is start with a little project and do some testing as you go and you'll be fine. Now, before we go any further on this, I need you to know that at the weekend, I had a fight with a yucca and I fell onto an oyster shell path and I have a very battered face, so if I look like I'm a bit crusty around here, it is because of that, but I live to walk another day, so I must just learn to be a little bit careful when I do things. Okay, now let me run you through the materials that you need for this. I've got all these wonderful blocks over here. Now, I got these from an indie emporium here in Auckland, but if you go looking, you'll find these in those sort of like artsy, crafty places. You usually find those. There is another place that you can source your blocks from, or your prints, your material for printing with, and that's from, I get mine here in Spotlight in New Zealand, and they've got Spotlights in Australia, and I'm sure if you go looking into stationery shops, you'll find these. The other place that you can sometimes get them made is places where they do printing, and they can make them up for you. But the great thing about these is that these just like peel off, and then you can just replace them. And these ones here just give you an indication of the different types that you can get. These are designed to go specifically onto paper, but they do work on fabric, but you just have to be a little bit more careful. Right, you'll also need an iron, and then you'll also need some fabric paint. Now, I got these also from Spotlight, but there'll be craft shops all over the world that will have the fabric paint. I'm just going to use black and white because that's my colour theme, but the whole spectrum of the rainbow is where you can get your colours, or if you're stuck, just get your 3 primary colours, and I think if you look at my fundamentals of colour, it'll show you how to mix your colours up. Right, to begin, the first thing that you need to do is to put a piece of plastic down so that you have a nice clean working environment. You'll also need a plastic container and a paintbrush because you might have to just mix in some colours. Now, I'll just get rid of that and I'll show you that one in a few minutes, and get rid of my phone. Right, I thought that, and all the instructions come on the back of these as well, but anyway, when you get it, give it a good shake up and then put that onto your plate. Now, a little bit of this goes a long way, and it is quite thick, which is quite nice to work with. Okay, you'll also need a bucket of soapy water as your cleanup. Right, from there, where is my piece that I'm going to work with? I'll do a table napkin. Make sure if you're using anything that's brand new that it has had a thorough wash, because sometimes the fabric has sizing on it, and when you print over the top of that, well, you're just wasting your time. I've also got a piece of parchment paper or baking paper that I put underneath, and I usually like to work on something solid so that when I move it, I can gently move it, because once this is in place, you don't want to be moving it. And the other thing is that sometimes the colour will bleed through, so if it's on a nice surface to start with, then you are ready to rock and roll. Okay, the other thing that you need to do is get your block, and I'll use this block here, and what I do is I like to actually put the paint onto it first and just make sure that you get everything all evenly coloured. You can do this if you want to, but what I've found is, as I've just seen there, you see that there, it's all sort of thick and gluggy. I don't like that. And the other thing that I like to do is do a wee test run before you start. And I've got a piece of newsprint here, and I'll just use that. And you'll see that because I've loaded it up too much, I'm losing some of my definition. Now, I'll just get this back so that you can have a look at it again. So you'll notice that this is what's happened when I've used too much paint on the block. This is when I haven't used enough paint on the block. This is the one that I consider the best. But the other thing is, don't forget that this is hand printing, so it doesn't need to be perfect. So don't knock yourself up if you do make a mistake. Right, I'll just, there, look at that. See how it's coming right? So that was the first one. That was the second one, and that was the third one. So about now, what I need to do is to put a little bit more paint onto there. And about now, we have fingers crossed as we go in for the big print block off first. Okay, just give it a little bit of a push before you go, and then, perfect, perfect, perfect. I just love it. Now, the other thing to remember is, make sure that you measure. If you've got a block this like this size, what I like to do is I'll go that corner, and then I'll go over to this corner here, and then see what's happened from one press to the next. See how it hasn't got enough on it? The other thing you can do is you can put a little mark on here and a little mark on here so that you can actually transfer that down properly, because sometimes what you'll find is when you go to do that again, now just let's see if I can be clever and get this done. I doubt that I will, but you know, we're going to try. No, I can't try again because I don't know which way it went. Oh well, let's just try it. That went down onto there like that. Fingers crossed we've got it right. Yes! Oh, so clever. So then do your four corners and then go in between your corners if you want it to go all the way around. Don't just start here and go plonk, 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 plonk all the way around, because you might find it just doesn't work. So that's with the wooden blocks. Let's have a look with this here, which is for using on paper. Did you see what I did? Thank goodness we had a little piece of plastic down. But now look what I've done. About now when I do that, I would just take the whole stuff off, dry it off and start again. So we'll just use this as our little practice run, will we? Okay, push that onto there. This isn't really as good as what I would want. This would be probably this sort of a weight block or print stamp would possibly be good on something like muslin or some fine lawn or something like that. But this is just one of the techniques that you can use, and I will be showing you other ways of doing this. So I'm just going to put that down onto there like that, and then you just give it a wee press. Not too hard, because this may do it, which would be great if it does. Oh, it didn't do it. But see how it hasn't come out perfectly there? Don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to see what this, well, we're all having a learning experience here, aren't we? So I'm just going to have a look and see what happens if I can actually bring those together and actually see if I can fill that out a bit. Put that onto there, just a little bit of a press. As I said, not too much of a press, lifting it up. Oh, look at that, that's perfect. I could do the whole thing there. The other thing about printing your own fabrics is sometimes I have these visuals of the material of the frock that I want to make, and I want my own specific little print on it, and I can't find it. That's where this comes in really handy. Now, there is one more thing that you can do. Once this is dry, you could actually hand colour that if you wanted to. Let it dry for a good 24 hours on a nice flat environment like this. Then you just put your iron to about 100 Fahrenheit or 100, I think it's 140, but all instructions are on the back. I think it's 140 for 5 minutes. Iron it from the other side, and you'll be able to wash it and do whatever you want to do with it. I hope you've enjoyed that, because I've enjoyed doing that for you. And before we go any further and I let you go to get on with your busy life, I want to show you what I've done here. Now we went to Rarotonga a couple of years ago, and the girls there are just the most amazing girls at doing block prints like this. Now you may not be able to see it very clearly, but we saw these white tablecloths and I thought, oh, I must do those myself when I get home. Now you may not be able to see all the detailing, but I've just done white on white, and that just I absolutely love that for my afternoon teas in the garden. Thanks for calling. I'll see you another day.